Are we filming? Yes, we are. So welcome to another video. Let me tell you something about a test I did in inclement conditions, a pen test. I was on my vacation. I've just come back from vacation, and during that vacation, I spent a night in the hills up in the mountains here in Wales, where I was inside a cloud. And I took with me, I was going to take two filofaxes, my EDC, which is my diary, and my to-do list, notebook, that sort of thing. And I was also going to take my plotter in Bible size for writing notes, which I didn't do. Because I thought I was a bit worried that I might damage in the damp this one, because this is arguably the most that I spent more money on this one than any other of my collection. And I've got about 200 binders in my collection now. So this was the most expensive, so I didn't really want to do that. In the end, what I decided to do was take my EDC, my Portlands, D-rings Portlands, and I would take some sheets of my paper. I really like this 50 GSM Clairefontaine paper. Very, very nice, and cheap, at least here in the UK, in a Ziploc bag. And not to put a fine point on it, it was a disaster. I in the end, I didn't do any writing of notes. In the end, I found it easier to use the voice memo function on my phone, because my phone is waterproof, and I probably recorded about a couple of hours of voice notes. So I know that sounds like I'm a Philistine, but it is what it is. I did try, but I took 4 pens with me and 1 pencil, and I've lost the pencil somewhere up in the forests of Wales. Up in the clouds, there's a pencil, but there we go. So I tested these pens, and then I just did a little test, because I could see that it was so damp. It was so damp, and it's not raining, and I'm under a tarp, but because you're enveloped, you're surrounded by the mist, everything is damp, everything is, and you after a few hours there, everything is soaked. Nothing you can do about it. There's no point wearing a jacket, because everything seeps in, and you know. So I thought I'd do a quick test to see what would happen in these conditions. So first test, Pilot G2 1mm broad nib. This is one of my favourite pens of all time, and it's really quick. There's no routine here. It's just click right, click off, and you'll see that there is some fading of the ink. There is some ink spreads and absorbed into the paper. It's still okay, but it's not ideal. My next choice was this Kaweco Lilliput, which is currently resides in my EDC, and this has Kaweco, a standard Kaweco ink cartridge. And what I wrote here was Kaweco Lilliput brown Kaweco ink cartridge, and it's a medium nib, and yet, as you can see, the ink has disappeared. So this is not the pen for inclement conditions. This is probably the worst pen. I'm not saying this particular pen is bad, but certainly the ink is not good. So what I have decided to do is just empty the cartridge, and then inject that cartridge with some ink that will last and stay legible even in damp conditions. And that ink would be, this is my favourite. So this is Noodler's Blue Anti-Feather, very, very good. But I also like this Noodler's again, Heart of Darkness. Now both these inks are described as bulletproof. A bit of a euphemism there, but Nathan says that these are bulletproof. Okay, but they certainly bond to the paper in a chemical way. And so the next example is the Noodler's Anti-Feather bulletproof ink. But you can see that by the time I got to the last, I just gave up. Why? Because I was using this is the most expensive fountain pen I've ever bought. It's a Tom Studio fountain pen with an architect's nib, and it writes superbly. But for some reason, when I was up in the clouds, I took it out of my jacket, and you could see that it writes perfectly, and then it stops working. So I don't know why. I suspect it's obviously the damp. Well, whether it's obvious or not, I don't know. But I suspect it's the damp. But in this particular case, I will not be taking this pen out with me again. I just thought if I was going to write some artistic stuff, then I would take an expensive pen to do it. But it didn't work out. And finally, the one that I've had most success with, this is also a Tom Studio product. This is the Wren, which recently won the Stationery Product of the Year. Fantastic thing. And I've got two of these now. I've got one in black, this one, and I've got a blue one as well. And I use Heart of Darkness in here. Because it just doesn't seem to clog up, seems to flow okay, lasts a long time, a very long time between fills, and it just proved very, very, very extremely reliable in the field where I was enveloped in fine mist or cloud, ran about 1,000 feet here in Wales in the Welsh forests, and it did the job. So out of all these pens, which one would I take if I could only take one? I would do the Wren, the Tom Studio Wren. Very reliable. It appears to be very reliable. Very small, smaller even than the Lilliput. I'm not sure how heavy this is, but this is 25 grams. This feels a little bit lighter. So I'm just guessing probably about 18, 19 grams. So if you're out trekking or backpacking, camping, then weight is everything, isn't it? So I would definitely take this one rather than anything else, and a pencil. Pencil is good too. So you've got a backup. So this Wren, Tom Studio Wren, and a pencil as a backup. I think that's perfect. So that's the long and the short of it, as they say in the UK. It was a useful exercise. But yeah, I was. It was just an impromptu thing because I was just seeing whether the conditions affected paper, ink, pen, and I learnt a lot. One thing that I am going to do, as I've already mentioned, is, this is a lovely pen. It is a lovely pen to write with. Superb as an EDC. It's my favourite EDC. The Wren is a little bit because it's like a fibre tip or a nylon tip. It's not. It's a writing implement, but I prefer a nib, a proper fountain pen for journaling, for instance. But out in the field, this is better. But this particular one, I'm going to replace the Coeco ink with Noodler's ink, probably the blue anti-feather, because I cannot trust the, there might be a situation where if I write a journal in 100 years time, 200 years time, someone might be reading it and then accidentally drop it in the bath or something and lose a whole book's worth of my memories that I'm passing on to them. So I can help my future descendants by making sure that I have ink that will last battle damage, bulletproof ink to guard against battle damage. And if we have a European war, then that might be quite literally true. Anyway, I'll leave you with that political thought. Thanks very much for watching. Until next time, goodbye.